Hello, folks. My name is Corey Gerard, and I'd like to welcome you all to Monster Wars Battles. This battle will showcase Darth Vader fighting Freddy Krueger, and it is the number 7th in this series. So sit back and enjoy. Okay, the scene now starts off at daytime and in front of the CIA Research Center for Supernatural and Paranormal Activity. Then the motion quickly speeds inside of this building's entrance and then slows once it arrives at the patient area of the center, as shown doing so. Now, male and female doctors slash scientists are seen, as well as government agents that wear black and blue suits. Next, the motion hurries into a patient's room, and then a doctor is seen sitting across a small table with an Asian woman. The black female doctor is wearing a long white lab coat and electric blue neon sunglasses, and the 19-year-old Asian female is wearing a white hospital gown. So the doctor slash scientist says, "Sadu me," and then the Asian teenager is shown turning into the snake-haired Medusa. Now Medusa's hair appears to be full of living snakes, while her eyes glow a bright light as seen. Then suddenly, the scientist presses a side button on her sunglasses and its lenses turn into mirrors. We then see them reflect Medusa's image back onto herself, which causes this snake lady to transform back into an ordinary teenage girl. Now the scene changes and then it shows up inside of Nancy Thompson's patient room. She is then shown again laying in her comatose state. Then suddenly Nancy's monitor machine starts to make a loud noise, and shortly later a male doctor and blonde female agent enter her room as shown doing so. Then the doctor quickly goes to Nancy's monitor machine and says, "There appears to be a change in her condition." Now the female agent is shown near Nancy and replies she has not awoken, but maybe her soul seeks a bodily connection. We now see that doctor remove his shades and then his eyes appear to glow bright blue. Next, the government medic is shown placing his right hand on Nancy's chest for a soul search reading. Then all of a sudden, the lights in the room turn off, and then surrounding images of Freddy Krueger are seen as the doctor and agent look on. Freddy next laughs and says, "I know where you really are, Nancy." Then the motion quickly hurries out of this possessed patient room as shown doing so. Now other agents and medics are seen being affected by dark wind which came from Nancy Thompson's room. Next, an Elm Street sign is shown from an above motioning descend. It appears to be in the evening now, and it's getting dark outside. Next, a black new model van is shown with black tinted windows and is parked right in front of Nancy Thompson's old home. The scene motion then hurries inside of that house, and then dark suit agents are seen at monitor stations which were set up within this home. Then suddenly split screens show paranormal devices in several rooms, and they now appear to be making loud noises. Next, a black female agent is shown looking into a bathroom mirror as she washes her hands. And then she sees Freddy Krueger inside of that mirror as he raises his glove of razors up. So Agent Carla screams and next wakes up on a living room couch. The scene then goes to the dream side of this same house where Lene and Nancy are now shown standing in front of it. Next, little girls are seen skipping rope to the left of Nancy's homes and then sing 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, 3, 4, better lock your door. We then see Lene appearing curious and slowly walks towards those girls as light wind blows through her blonde curly hair. This fairy next has a childhood flashback and a child Lene is now seen playing outside with her two sisters in Detroit. Nancy's voice is then heard saying, Lene, don't get drawn into that Krueger madness. So a grown Lene Purvey awakes from her flashback as shown doing so. This spirited golden fairy then says, come on, Nancy, let's take the fight to Freddy. Now both of these heroes proceed to walk to that creepy Elm Street home, and then they enter inside as seen doing so. Nancy's mom and dad then approach in a greeting way. Her father is seen saying, Nancy, I almost sent out a search party because you're late coming home from school. Then her mother Marge replies, well, at least she came home and I see that you brought a friend home for dinner. Now Nancy and Lene appear to have a curious facial expression because they weren't expecting to see Nancy's parents here. Lene then whispers in Nancy's right ear and says, they're not really your parents, it's a trick. Then Marge Thompson grabs Nancy by the hand and then says, come along, fancy Nancy, your dinner's getting cold and there's plenty for your friend too. So a smiling Marge is now shown pulling Nancy into the kitchen as the father and Lene follow them. Then suddenly a fiery pit is shown in the middle of the kitchen, which is where the table should be. Now Nancy appears to be in shock along with her friend. Then Donald Thompson pushes Lene near Nancy. Now these two fairy ladies turn to face those dream parents and see that they now have horns on their heads and glowing red eyes. The demon Mars then says, yes, your dinner's down there, as Lene and Nancy are shown near the edge of that fire pit. Nancy now looks at Lene and says, let's try the pull fling. So Lene smiles and replies, right you are. Then suddenly both of these ladies grab the hand of each demonic parent and then pulls them into the fiery pit as the dream fairies hold onto opposite cabinet ends with their other hands as seen doing so. Next, the scene is quickly shown motioning through a revolving portal which now travels to a distant past. We now arrive on a world called Tyron, where giant tarantula spiders are seen crawling around. The scene next speeds inside of a dark, metallic building, and then Darth Vader is shown in a med lab room as his prosthetic limbs are seen being removed from him, along with his helmet and face mask. Vader's yellow eyes are now shown, while floater droids and ground androids assist him. Then Vader uses the dark side to lift a palm-sized holocron into the air above him, and then a two-legged droid sticks a needle into Lord Vader's neck, which numbs his body up. Now Vader's pet tarantula is seen crawling on the ceiling. Obviously, this Dark Lord used the Force to mind control that giant spider. Then suddenly 3 floater droids are shown slicing Vader open. They are apparently using surgical tools as he lays on a medical bed. Now a speed motion shows all of Vader's internal implants being removed in a hurry, which includes his chest plate and breathing devices. So Darth Vader's life support is currently shut down. So this Sith Lord keeps himself alive with a Force containment field. Next, the flying droids are seen spraying Bacta relief where Vader was cut open, and then his surgery wounds close up and the bleeding stops. Darth Vader now opens the triangle-shaped holocron as it hovers above his chest, as shown doing so. Then an energy spirit Dark Lord comes out of this Sith device and then attaches itself onto Lord Vader. Apparently, this holocron of portal teachings would only respond to organic life forms. Then suddenly the scene arrives back in Nancy's room at the CIA Research Center. Now Nancy is seen being rolled out of her patient room on a portable monitor bed. There are 3 agents near her as a scientist pushes her lab bed, as shown doing so. We next see Nancy being pushed into a more spacious room, which has anatomy detecting equipment and a red light. The scene next returns to Nancy's old Elm Street home. The motion then speeds to inside of this home at the real world outside of dreams. Now agents are seen talking about their dream experiences with Freddy Krueger. Agent Carla then replies, "If he kills you inside of the dream, then you die for real." Next, a bald agent says, "Yes, I know that, so we can't fall asleep in this cursed house." After that remark, a blonde female agent is shown closing her eyes because of fatigue, and then Krueger's gloved arm quickly comes out of a near wall and grabs that woman through it as the other agents look on in horror. Next, the scene returns to Nancy and Lene's dream as seen doing so. Then suddenly the blind agent enters the fairy's dream by appearing halfway through a living room wall. Now this female agent looks like she's been through hell and starts to yell help, and then we see Lene and Nancy quickly run down the stairs. These ladies then enter the living room. Now Lene grabs the agent's arm as Nancy yells, "Pull her through." Then suddenly Lene's hand shows a spark of golden fairy energy, and it sends Agent Sarah back through the dream wall and into the real world, where she wakes in front of the other agents. Back in the dream, as shown, Nancy now falls through an opening in the floor as Lene looks at flashes of fairy sparks on her hand. The golden fairy then turns to see Nancy, but her friend has fell into the basement through a hole in the floor, which now closes back up. Lene suddenly gets down on that floor spot because she hears Nancy yell, "Lene, I'm in the boiler room." Then Krueger's voice is heard laughing in the kitchen, so Lene yells, "Hold on, Nancy, I'm on my way." We then see Lene get up and run to the kitchen as seen doing so. Now Lene grabs the basement door knob, but the door won't open. Freddy is then heard saying, "Come down and die with her, you not so scary fairy." Then the basement door opens, and then Nancy's friend runs down the stairs and into the boiler room. Next, the scene returns to Vader's world of Tyron. Now the Sith Lord is seen whole again and with his infamous dark armor on. Then Vader stands up and uses the dark side to call 10 more giant tarantulas into his med lab. Now 11 big spiders hurry to him as shown doing so. Darth Vader then leaves his medical lab and the giant spider tarantulas follow behind him as shown. Now suddenly the scene lifts up and then quickly moves to this building's backyard court. Vader's TIE ship is then seen on the landing pad near the fortress back entrance. Now the Dark Lord is shown at the center court as the huge spiders abide. The nighttime sky is about to fully come in over this Tyron world. We now see Vader set the Sith holocron on the court floor as he knelt down to do so. Next, Vader waves his hand, and then the holocron shoots portal energy onto Darth Vader's location. So he collects this reddish light with his right hand as seen doing so. Then suddenly Lord Vader focuses the portal rays ahead of him and his spiders as more large spiders begin to climb over the wall. Next, the scene changes and arrives at Freddy's boiler room. Lene Purvey is now seen walking through this nightmare place. She then pulls a pipe weapon from a wall and shows an angry expression on her lovely face. Then suddenly 2 split screens appear high above, and then Nancy's patient room and agents at her old house are shown outside of this dream realm. So 3 events are now seen playing out at the same time. Nancy's comatose body is being monitored by 4 glowing-eyed scientists. The agents now appear to be very nervous, and Fairy Lene strolls on while calling out Nancy's name. An up-close look then shows sweat on Lene's face and curly blonde hair because of the hot boiler heat. Then suddenly Krueger jumps down in front of Lene as the 2 other scenes that were split disappear. Freddy then slices Lene's black sweater with his razors and says, "Welcome to my world, fairy girl." So Lene wildly swings her pipe at Freddy and yells, "Where is Nancy?" Krueger is next hit in his head with that pipe and then knocks her weapon into a furnace as shown doing so. Lene then charges in and grabs Krueger's gloved wrist, and a close struggle ensues between them. Now suddenly the scene moves away and goes to a bedroom where lit candles, voodoo items, and a big mirror is seen. Now a voodoo priestess with a black gown and necklace of skulls is shown sitting in front of the mirror as surrounding candles light this room. This mystery lady is Marilyn Marlborough, a native of Louisiana. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story and stay tuned for part 8 of Darth Vader versus Freddy Krueger.